What's up, everybody? We are back out in the field doing our second pass of fertilizing wheat. We're putting on some herbicide this round as well, and we've got our capstan nozzle control system in action for the first time. As you can see, the wheat has greened up quite a bit since we were last out here, and that's due to the snow and the rain that we've received in the last couple weeks. You can see the capstan system is a pulse, blended pulse technology system, so it pulses here, keeps the pressure and the coverage the exact same, no matter your speed, no matter whether you're turning, and it keeps each individual nozzle from ever overlapping, saving you a lot of time and money. And that's a little bit about the system. We've got a new monitor in here for it, the capstan logo here, and then of course we still got our TopCon monitor up here as well. This is kind of an oddly shaped field where we're at, so it's really nice to have all of these nozzles shut off anytime they overlap anywhere you've already sprayed. And of course the TopCon monitor shows us our map here, our coverage map. You can see here that PSI stays the same no matter what, and that was different than it was before we had the capstan system on here. The pressure would go up and down depending on how fast you were going, or if you were turning it on, turning it off. A lot of different things affected the pressure. Now that pressure stays consistent all the time. And if you've been following, the ag industry, you know that the inputs of ag, chemical, seed, fertilizer, are at an all-time high. And so anytime you can save even 1 acre of fertilizer, like we're doing today, or chemical, even on an 80-acre field, if you can save 1 acre's worth of that, you're saving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And so it's a very valuable system to have, especially in these times where inputs are so high. And so we're thankful to have gotten it on our sprayer, like you saw in the last video, and now we've got it in action.
I heard on the news about that 5-year-old who found his uncle's gun.
11, 12 years ago, when I first started spraying, most of this technology was not available, and we didn't really have any of it. We had that Rogator 854. When we first got that, there was no auto steer, there was no section control, there was no map of where you've been, there was overlap. You had to use foam to tell where you'd been, and you had to manually control your booms to keep them from hitting the ground, going over terraces or low spots. And so it's pretty cool to me just to see how the technology has changed over the years, and just seeing how our farm has changed over the years. We've gotten more technology, and by doing that, we've been able to use less inputs. We've been able to get better yields, save on fuel, less operator stress, so we can cover more acres. The list goes on and on, and that's just one of the many examples of how farming is getting better and better and more efficient as time goes on. All right, Nathan is here with the semi, and Kaylin's coming to pick him up. He's bringing the semi to me so I can fill. Here you can see on the TopCon screen, I'm just about out of spray, fertilizer. So we'll get it filled here. All right, here's our fertilizer trailer, and we are running the fertilizer through the hose in the sprayer. We're also doing some MCPE. And some finesse. we are filled back up, and we moved across the road here from that field to this field. So starting on a new field here. And if you guys remember from the fall, this was the field we chopped milostalks on and then went right back to wheat. And you can tell if we wouldn't have planted wheat, you know, chopping milostalks, it pretty much takes off all the residue when you swath them and chop them like we did. But I don't know if you can tell, the wheat's provided a real nice blanket of green, real nice cover all winter for this field. And now here in the spring, it's starting to green up, and it's looking really good. It's really exciting. As I talked about earlier with the high inputs, it's good to have these systems in place to save on your inputs. But with the high grain prices on the flip side, it's just exciting to be able to farm. It's exciting that we got moisture this spring. There were places that are still in a drought. And we definitely still could be if it doesn't rain for the rest of the spring. But we got rain, we got snow. That was really exciting. We're really thankful. And then to just see, you know, a very profitable crop, you know, growing up after a long winter, it's just an exciting thing to see and be a part of. And so these are the times when you really enjoy farming. All right, Nathan came and traded me off. We should finish this field by the end of the night easily, but we're gonna be out of fertilizer until Ag Service brings us some more. So this will be it regardless. I'm gonna take the semi back to the farm, call it a night. It's actually about 7 o'clock. It seems like it's 5 o'clock, but with the time change, it's 7 o'clock. So just because we're out of fertilizer, not really much else we can do for tonight. And Nathan wanted to get in on some of the action with the new system. You gotta go get it.
The wipes are in the way.
You gotta move those. Or just carry them if you crawl.
So I'm out driving through our pastures. Just want to take a look to see which paddock has the most grass that I want to start in. I know that this pasture is going to have more grass. This is Miller 1. I know that it's going to have more grass than Miller 2 based on how we pulled the cows off of here in August, and we didn't pull the cows off there. Well, we turned some pairs back out onto there. The other thing I'm looking at is the level of the ponds. I'll show you this one here. So here's our biggest pond in the Miller 1 pasture, and it's actually looks, I mean, it's plenty full. But I'll show you the pond on the other side of the pasture. So we rotationally graze our pastures. This one has 3 paddocks, and this is the paddock that probably had the most grass left. There's not a lot of green coming. You can see there's some green, but it's not even April yet. So, but I do think we'll be able to turn cows out here, and we'll give them some protein supplement for a little bit. There's plenty of residue out here for them to chew up instead of eating hay. So as a rancher, you got to balance feed costs with grass productivity for the long term and soil health. If you overgraze your pastures, the grass won't be as good 6 months or a year from now. But it is cheaper to run cattle on grass than it is to feed them hay in a dry lot, which is where they are right now. So I wouldn't turn pairs out onto grass like this just because we don't have a lot of grass, and the calves wouldn't get as much nutrition off of this. But since these are the just weaned, these are the cows that just wean their calves, so they're at the lowest nutritional point. So they'll be fine with this and just a little bit of protein supplement. The other thing I wanted to look at was the cattails. This pond has some cattails, and I was looking up how to control them and manage them. So if anybody has recommendations on controlling cattails in your cow ponds, Crosby, you're gonna have to ride home in the back. If you do that, well, he's not riding home in the front with me. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. I'm gonna start figuring out ways to control this year. There's a couple ponds we have that have the issue. Okay, this is the second paddock of Miller 1, and we are going to turn 2 trailer loads full out here. I just got the fence hot, and first paddock has a little grazing in it, left over from the fall, but the second paddock has quite a bit more, and it's the biggest paddock, so this is where we're going to put them. I'll probably eat here for 2 days, and then I'll call them around this corner. And this is the same place that about half the fall cows were last year, so some of them will be here for their second or third summer, and others of them, it might be their first summer in this pasture. This pasture has a lot of fencing that looks like this. So it's like netting. And then the netting is worn in a lot of places, but I mean, we're not putting any calves in this pen, or in this pasture. We're putting in bred cows, which are about the least fence crawlers of any cattle that we raise. Like there's just netting put in. So they're usually pretty hassle-free. So I've got 2 paddocks ready, which buys me enough time to get the third one ready. And it's not cold today. It's supposed to be pretty warm this afternoon, but wind is definitely whipping through here up on this hill. That hill up there is one of the highest points. Well, that's probably the highest point farm ground that we own, I think. Yeah. You can see down to my parents' house that direction, over to my house that direction, and yeah, this is definitely pasture ground. There's no farming this chunk here. There's hills, gullies, and yeah, we start farming again down there at the bottom of the hill. There's wheat planted. You can see kind of some, I don't know, just mounds there, rocks. I tell you what, the best usage of this land is for raising cattle or ruminants of some kind. We're getting some rain. So we'll want this pond to fill up. It's our biggest pond, and it actually overflows into this right side over here. We irrigate out of it. So we want enough rain to make the grass grow in the pastures and fill up our ponds to irrigate out of. So keep it coming this spring. A cattleman loves a dry winter, but a dry spring's not really good for crops or any operation where you're growing dependent on photosynthesis and rain. So at church yesterday, the pastor kind of joked. He said, we weren't sure whether to put rain in the praise or the prayer category, because some of the farmers were saying, oh, praise, we got rain this week from the snow. And then some of the other farmers were like, well, leave it in the prayer category because we need more. So we're doing both today. We're praying for more and praising God for what we got. Munching on millet. Fresh bagel. It is calf play time while the mamas eat the fresh hay. Join the group. These cattle are going to have to work for their feed for a little bit. It's going to mainly be eating dried grass for a week or two before it really greens up.